Hello everyone, and welcome to Hopeful Moments 1. Today, we're going to listen to a story about the fragility of family relationships, the lack of empathy, and how people react to personal hurt. It also highlights the importance of respecting other people's feelings, especially during the most important events in their lives. Today's story will take you through a truly surprising situation. A moment that should have been full of joy turns into a serious misunderstanding, especially when the person who benefits from the mix-up doesn't immediately correct it, resulting in profound psychological consequences for the main character. If you find this story interesting and full of meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to discover more valuable insights. I, female, 36 years old, have just received the news that I'm pregnant. My emotions overflowed, my heart is pounding wildly, and my whole body is filled with an indescribable joy. I have always dreamed of having my very own child, a little angel that I can love, care for, and raise with all the best things life has to offer. But for many years, I thought that this dream might forever remain just a dream. Since I was young, I devoted most of my time and energy to my career. Countless days of hard work, pursuing my ambitions, and conquering milestones in my job completely occupied my mind. It's not that I didn't want a family, but there were times I wondered, am I on a path that will one day make the dream of becoming a mother seem out of reach? I'm still single, and deep inside, I always harbored a lingering worry, will I ever have the chance to be a mother? I even convinced myself that perhaps fate never intended that for me, that some people are born to be mothers while maybe I was born to pursue my passions and my career. Yet, deep in my heart, I always longed for a child, a small family that would be entirely my own. And then today, when I saw the pregnancy test with 2 clear lines, everything exploded. I couldn't believe it. A tiny life is growing inside me. The joy came so unexpectedly, and it was something I had silently yearned for all these years. From this very moment, I am no longer just a career-driven woman, I'm about to become a mother. I feel my heart swell with joy when I think about the moment I'll share this wonderful news with my family. This is not only an important announcement for me, but also a major turning point in my life. I have been waiting for this moment for so long, and now that it's really happening, I just want to share this happiness with my dearest loved ones. In my family, my sister is the only one who has a child. My nephew, a lively, intelligent, and energetic 7-year-old boy, always brings laughter to our home. I love him dearly and have always felt so close to him. That's why, when I think about my child in the future having a cousin to play with, I feel even more excited. I imagine my nephew jumping up with joy when he learns that he'll soon have a little cousin, a new companion in our family. My brother is different. He is married, but from the very beginning, he and his wife have made it very clear that they will never have children. I have always respected their decision, even though sometimes I still wonder what the real reason behind that choice is. Perhaps they feel that their married life is more complete without children. Or maybe there's something else they've never shared. Either way, I understand that everyone has their own perspective and choices when it comes to building a family. With that thought, I feel even more grateful and excited about the fact that I'm about to become a mother. This is not only a personal joy but also something truly special for our family. The baby growing inside me will be a new member, a new source of happiness, and I hope that his arrival will bring even more joy to everyone. But I can't help feeling a bit anxious too. How will my family react? Will they be happy for me? Or will they be so shocked that they're left speechless? I'm not sure, but I believe that this will be a moment to remember. Last night, my entire family gathered for a cozy dinner, a rare occasion when everyone could put aside their busy work and sit down together to chat. I looked around the table, seeing the familiar faces of my parents and siblings, and felt a warm glow fill my heart. These are the people I love the most, and I knew there was no better time to share this wonderful news. I had thought so much about how to announce it. This isn't just ordinary news, it's a milestone in my life, the first and perhaps only time I get to be a mother. I wanted this moment to be special, not only for me but for the entire family. I didn't want to just plainly say the news, I wanted everyone to feel the joy and excitement that I was experiencing. One of the things that excited me the most was involving my nephew, the adorable 7-year-old boy whom I love so much. I have always had a close relationship with him, and I truly believe that having a little cousin will be wonderful for him. I imagine how happy he would be to know that he'll soon have someone to play with, someone to share his childhood moments with. That's why I wanted to make him an important part of this announcement. I smiled softly, placing my hand on my belly, feeling the gentle warmth of the tiny life growing inside me day by day. I pictured my family's reaction. They would be surprised, they would be joyful, they would embrace me and share in this happiness. My heart began to beat even faster with excitement and a touch of nervousness. I couldn't wait any longer. I wanted this moment to be truly special, not only for me but also for my beloved nephew. So, I prepared a small blue t-shirt with a bold printed message, "This is what an awesome cousin looks like." I carefully chose this t-shirt because I wanted to make the little boy an integral part of the announcement. I imagined the entire family being pleasantly surprised and delighted when they saw the message on the t-shirt, a subtle yet meaningful way to reveal the news. Enjoy the story, and if you find it inspiring and full of meaningful lessons, please like, share, and subscribe for more valuable insights. Before dinner began, I gently pulled my nephew into a corner of the room, bent down to his eye level, and smiled warmly. I took his tiny hands in mine, savoring the innocence shining in his bright eyes. "Do you want to know a secret?" I whispered excitedly. The curious little boy nodded, his eyes wide open as if eagerly awaiting something magical. I chuckled softly and placed my hand on my belly. "Soon, you'll have a little cousin to play with." For a few moments, he was silent, as though he were trying to fully understand the meaning of my words. Then, suddenly, his small face lit up with a radiant smile. "Really, miss," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Will the baby play superhero with me?" I laughed out loud and patted his head. "Absolutely. But first, the baby needs to grow up a little bit." I handed him the t-shirt I had prepared earlier. "Wear this, okay? Later, everyone will know that you're about to become an awesome cousin." He eagerly accepted the shirt, his little hands caressing the printed words, and nodded proudly. He quickly put it on, though I reminded him that he could also wear an extra jacket over it to keep the secret until the perfect moment. I gazed at him with a heart full of happiness. Not only is he going to be a future cousin, but he is also an integral part of this very special announcement, a memory we will cherish together forever. My nephew was absolutely thrilled to receive the t-shirt. He lifted it up, examining every letter printed on it with wide, fascinated eyes. A bright smile spread across his youthful face, and without a moment's hesitation, he slipped the shirt on as if he wanted to embrace this newfound joy. Immediately afterward, I gently patted his shoulder and whispered, "Let's keep this a little secret, all right? You can wear an extra jacket on top, and whenever you want, you can create the biggest surprise of tonight's dinner all by yourself." He nodded enthusiastically, his eyes twinkling with mischief. He zipped up his jacket, but his little hand continued to stroke the printed words on his t-shirt, as if eagerly anticipating the perfect moment to reveal the secret. The dinner atmosphere was lively and warm, with everyone chatting animatedly, and the clinking of cutlery on plates echoing in harmony. I could see my nephew fidgeting in his seat, repeatedly glancing at his t-shirt and then around the room, as if counting down the seconds to the perfect moment. And then, that moment arrived. While everyone was absorbed in my father's story, the little boy quietly set his fork down, took a deep breath, and, with a slow yet determined motion, unzipped his jacket and gradually removed it, like a performer preparing to pull back the curtain and reveal a grand secret. He sat perfectly still, his eyes shining brightly as he waited for someone to be the first to notice. For the first few seconds, no one seemed to notice. My nephew fidgeted in his chair, his gaze full of anticipation. I could see his little lips pursed, as if he were patiently waiting for a reaction. Then, suddenly, "Oh my gosh!" A shout of pure excitement rang out, shattering the calm atmosphere for an instant. My sister, the boy's mother, sprang up from her chair as soon as she saw the message on the t-shirt. With both hands clutched over her mouth and eyes wide in astonishment, she cried, "Really? Is that true?" Her voice blended surprise and delight. Everyone at the table fell silent and turned their attention toward her, then toward the t-shirt on my nephew. His face beamed with pride as he saw his mother's reaction. The entire room erupted in laughter and cheers. My nephew grinned contentedly, knowing that he had successfully played his role as the messenger of good news for me. The room was alive with jubilation, shouts, laughter, and cheers echoed as soon as everyone recognized the message on my nephew's t-shirt. But just moments later, that excitement quickly shifted, not toward me, but toward my sister-in-law. "Oh my gosh, really?" my mother exclaimed, her eyes lighting up with joy. My sister rushed over, taking my sister-in-law's hand with a voice filled with excitement. "You're pregnant? Why didn't you say so sooner?" Everyone crowded around my sister-in-law, bombarding her with questions, hugs, and endless congratulatory remarks. Not for a single second did anyone consider the possibility that I might be the one who was pregnant. I wasn't surprised, I had foreseen it. In their eyes, I was just a 36-year-old single woman. The idea of me being pregnant seemed utterly impossible. And my sister-in-law, with her stable marriage, was naturally the obvious choice in everyone's mind. But what hurt me most was not the misunderstanding itself, it was that my sister-in-law never corrected the misconception. She beamed brightly, showing no trace of embarrassment or hesitation about being the center of attention. In fact, to reinforce everyone's false belief, she even casually rubbed her flat stomach, completely devoid of any signs of pregnancy, while laughing merrily. In that moment, it felt as if an invisible knife had pierced right through my heart. I looked at her, longing for a remorseful glance, a correction, something to show that she understood this was my moment of joy, and that she shouldn't steal it away. But no, she continued to revel in the applause and the never-ending stream of congratulatory words meant for her. Oh, I suddenly froze. I felt as though I had been completely erased from this whole story. Perhaps my expression had betrayed my true feelings, because right after that, my mother turned to me with a face no longer filled with excitement but with clear disapproval. "Drop that look right now," my mother snapped, her eyes glaring at me, her voice icy. "Don't be so rude. Go and congratulate your sister-in-law immediately." I was stunned. Me? Rude? I hadn't even had a chance to utter a word, to react, to reclaim that moment that belonged to me, yet I was the one being blamed. Everyone continued to cheer and surround my sister-in-law with radiant smiles. Not one person noticed that I had completely vanished from their joy. I felt so isolated, so utterly alone that it choked me. I opened my mouth, trying to speak as clearly as I could, but my voice was drowned out by the cheers, congratulatory shouts, and excited chatter all around. I was the one who gave him the t-shirt. I repeated, raising my voice in an attempt to cut through the noise. But no one heard me. No one even turned to look at me, not one person stopped for even a second to ask, "Aren't you the one who's pregnant?" They just kept gathering around my sister-in-law, patting her on the back, laughing brightly, and showering her with endless congratulations. A surge of helplessness welled up inside me. I looked around desperately, trying to catch even one glance that might reach me, a single ray of hope that someone, anyone, would acknowledge the truth. But no, I was invisible in my very own moment. My brother, the only one not swept up in the merriment, still stood frozen. I could clearly see his ashen face, his eyes filled with overwhelming confusion. What did you say?" he asked my sister-in-law in a soft, somewhat urgent tone as he turned to her. She remained calm and smiled, her hand still resting on her stomach as if feeling a tiny life within. "Really?" my brother repeated, his voice trembling slightly. The entire room was still buzzing with laughter, but amidst the crowd, I could sense the shock overwhelming my brother. A part of me wanted to scream, to shake him and tell him, "No! I'm the one who's pregnant. This is my baby. This is my moment." But those words got stuck in my throat. I looked at them, at my sister-in-law, at my family, and a wave of deep pain surged through me. I wasn't just losing a special moment, I was losing my very voice. I bit my lip hard, trying to remain calm, but the overwhelming, choking emotion gripped my chest. I couldn't take it anymore. Without a word, I stood up and pushed my chair back. The sound of the chair scraping across the wooden floor echoed amid the lively party, yet no one paid any attention. I walked out of the dining room, passing by people who were happily chatting, by the glittering eyes of my mother and my sister, those who were still immersed in someone else's joy. Not a single person called after me. Not a single person asked where I was going. When I reached the door, a biting cold night wind swept past me, but my heart felt even colder. I clutched my belly, trying to find a bit of warmth from the baby yet to be born, but nothing could dispel the loneliness that engulfed me. I quickened my pace, as if trying to run away from this place, from those who had turned the happiest moment of my life into an indelible wound. Once I got home, I collapsed onto the sofa, my breathing ragged and chaotic. Then, my phone began to ring continuously. Oh, I suddenly froze. I felt as though I had been completely erased from this entire story. Perhaps my expression had betrayed my true feelings, because immediately afterward, my mother turned to me, not with excitement, but with clear displeasure. "Drop that look right now," my mother snapped, her eyes glaring at me, her voice icy. "Don't be so rude. Go and congratulate your sister-in-law immediately." I was stunned. Me? Rude? I hadn't even had a chance to speak a single word, to react, or to reclaim the moment that was rightfully mine, yet I was the one being scolded. Everyone continued to congratulate, surrounding my sister-in-law with radiant smiles. Not one person noticed that I had completely vanished from their joy. I felt so isolated, so overwhelmingly alone that it choked me. I opened my mouth, trying to speak as clearly as I could, but my voice was drowned out by the cheers, the congratulatory shouts, and the excited chatter all around. I was the one who gave him the t-shirt. I repeated, straining to raise my voice over the noise. But no one heard me. No one turned to look at me, not one person paused for even a second to ask, "Aren't you the one who's pregnant?" They just kept gathering around my sister-in-law, patting her on the back, laughing brightly, and offering endless congratulations. A surge of helplessness welled up inside me. I scanned the room desperately, searching for even one glance to reach me, a single ray of hope that someone, anyone, would acknowledge the truth. But no, I was invisible in my very own moment. My brother, the only one not swept up in the merriment, still stood frozen. I could clearly see his ashen face, his eyes filled with overwhelming confusion. What did you say?" he asked my sister-in-law in a soft, somewhat urgent tone as he turned toward her. She remained calm, smiling, her hand still resting on her stomach as if feeling a tiny life inside. "Really?" my brother repeated, his voice trembling slightly. The entire room was buzzing with laughter, but amid the crowd, I could sense the shock engulfing my brother. A part of me wanted to scream, to shake him and say, "No! I'm the one who's pregnant. This is my baby. This is my moment." But those words got stuck in my throat. I looked at them, at my sister-in-law, at my family, and a deep pain surged within me. I wasn't just losing a special moment, I was losing my very voice. I bit my lip hard, trying to stay calm, but the overwhelming, choking emotion gripped my chest. I couldn't take it any longer. Without a word, I stood up and pushed my chair back. The sound of the chair scraping across the wooden floor echoed through the lively party, yet no one paid any attention. I walked out of the dining room, passing by people laughing and chatting merrily, past the sparkling eyes of my mother and my sister, those who were still immersed in someone else's joy. Not a single person called after me. Not a single person asked where I was going. When I reached the door, a biting cold night wind swept past me, but my heart felt even colder. I clutched my belly, trying to find a bit of warmth from the baby yet to be born, but nothing could dispel the overwhelming loneliness. I quickened my pace, as if trying to run away from this place, from those who had turned the happiest moment of my life into an indelible wound. Once I got home, I collapsed onto the sofa, my breathing ragged and chaotic. Then, my phone began to ring continuously. Ting! 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 I glanced at the screen, one message after another appeared, each line of text striking my heart like a sharp knife. You're such a selfish jerk. Why did you cause all this chaos? This is your fault, not your sister-in-law's. Are you so jealous that you can't stand it? Each word hit me directly, deepening the unhealed pain. I wanted to retort, to scream. No! You're all wrong. This is my baby, this is my moment. But I didn't. My fingers trembled, yet in the end, I just put the phone down. A single tear silently fell onto the screen. Then another. And another. I clutched my pillow, curling up, letting the tears flow like an unceasing rain. My sobs choked in my throat, breaking into small hiccups, my breaths coming in ragged gasps in the silent darkness of my room. Finally, I cried until I had no strength left to stay awake. And then, I fell into a deep, isolated sleep. This morning, I woke up with swollen, puffy eyes and a weary body. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, but it brought no warmth, just a cold, empty morning. Reluctantly, I picked up my phone, and immediately, a slew of missed calls and unread messages appeared on the screen. Mother, 5 missed calls. Sister, 3 missed calls. Brother, 1 missed call. Family, group chat, 50+ unread messages. I sighed deeply, my heart heavy with despair. Scrolling through the messages, I noticed a change in their tone. Last night, they called me a selfish jerk, but this morning, they all turned around and started apologizing. Your sister-in-law has clarified everything, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. My mother. Hey, we just got caught up in our emotions, we didn't mean it. My sister. I never expected things to turn out this way. I'm sorry. My brother. I gripped my phone tightly. They apologized, but not for hurting me, they apologized because they were wrong about my sister-in-law. If she hadn't admitted it, would they ever have realized the truth? Before I could even respond, the phone rang again, my mother. Reluctantly, I pressed the answer button and put the phone to my ear. Are you there, dear? Sweetie, I know there was some misunderstanding last night. But everything's over now, isn't it? Her voice wavered slightly. I fell silent, waiting to hear what she would say next. I think you shouldn't have left like that. If you had explained clearly from the start, none of this would have happened. Do you mean it's my fault? I clenched my hands. Not at all, my mother quickly replied. What I mean is, we can make it right. We can organize another dinner, this time, you can announce your news the right way, and everyone will be genuinely surprised. I promise, I'll make it beautiful for you. A fake dinner? I managed a bitter smile, feeling a wave of resentment. Not fake, just a redo. We can fix everything. No. I said firmly. Sweetie, why are you being so stubborn? Everyone has already apologized. Nothing can be fixed anymore, Mom. I interrupted sharply. Because that moment has been stolen from me. It can never be recreated. I hung up and dropped the phone onto the table. They think that just another dinner, a bit of pretense, a little performance, can make everything go back to the way it was. They don't understand that my joy has been trampled, that the dream of a memorable moment has been turned into a farce. I collapsed onto my bed, feeling an unbearable emptiness deep inside. How can I ever trust them again? Then, my sister-in-law texted, Hey, I want to talk about last night. I opened the message, my heart pounding wildly in a strange rhythm. Perhaps, a part of me still hoped she would apologize. But as I read on, I felt as if my entire being had frozen. Actually, the way you chose to announce your happy news is exactly how I always wanted to do it if I had ever been pregnant. But since you and your husband have decided that you will never have children, you just wanted to experience that feeling once. Anyway, you can still have your chance at the redo dinner, right? I stared at the screen, unable to believe my eyes. What is she even saying? I felt a simmering anger gradually spreading through my chest. This is not a game. This isn't some experience to satisfy your curiosity. This is the most important moment of my life, a moment that happens only once, and you have turned it into a performance, a play that you can act out for a few minutes and then laugh about. You feel no remorse at all. On the contrary, you even find it amusing to steal that moment. You even think that a fake dinner can replace what has been lost. I put my phone down, feeling a profound sense of disappointment. They really don't understand anything about my feelings. They think that another dinner, another performance, can make everything go back to the way it was. No. That moment has been taken away, and nothing can ever replace it. I sent a short reply. Mobile phone with arrow no. I'm not going to do it again. Immediately, my phone began ringing non-stop, with message after message pouring in like a storm. Mobile phone with arrow, why are you so stubborn? Mobile phone with arrow, everyone has already apologized, what more do you want? Mobile phone with arrow, we just want to make things right, how can you be so selfish? Mobile phone with arrow, no one wants to hurt you, but you're making a huge deal out of this. I didn't reply. I had nothing left to say. In their eyes, I'm a jerk simply because I refuse to recreate the most important moment of my life as if it were a staged performance. In their eyes, I'm selfish just because I won't give them a chance to fix things, even though they are the ones who hurt me from the start. But how can they make it right? How can a moment that should have been the happiest of my life simply be reenacted like a game? They don't understand. They only want to make themselves feel better, to erase their mistakes with a fake dinner. And what about me? I would have to pretend that nothing happened, pretend that the moment was never stolen, pretend that I never cried myself to sleep in anguish. No. I will not do that. If they want to think I'm selfish, so be it. But I don't need a staged performance to please them. I just want to protect my own feelings. I've come to realize that no matter how many apologies are offered, no matter how many efforts others make to fix what's happened, to me, what occurred can never go back to the way it was. That was a unique moment, a moment marked by happiness, but also filled with tears, loss, and misunderstanding. I know that one day, my heart might be generous enough to forgive them, perhaps after the wounds in my soul have gradually healed. But I cannot, and will never, agree to recreate a happy announcement like a staged play merely meant to make everyone feel better. I refuse to do that, not only because that moment has vanished in a way that can never be replicated, but also because I want to preserve the true value of genuine emotions. Every tear, every laugh, every heartbeat of joy when sharing my own happiness is too precious to be reenacted like an artificial performance. They think that if another dinner could be organized, if that moment could be redone, then everything would be fixed and all mistakes erased. But for me, that would never be enough to make up for the feeling of being robbed, for the pain of having the most important moment of my life turned into a performance meant to console others. I know that forgiveness might be the path out of the darkness of my past, but that doesn't mean I'll allow myself to live again as a supporting character in someone else's story. I will hold on to my memories, both the happy and the sad, as a part of who I am, and I will never trade them just to please someone else. Through everything that has happened, your story teaches us that in life, our most precious moments are not always understood and appreciated by others. Although we expect our family to be a source of comfort and love, sometimes a lack of empathy and misunderstandings can leave us feeling betrayed and lost. The lesson here is to always maintain your self-respect and cherish the true values and genuine emotions within you. My advice to you is to bravely live as your authentic self, to forgive the past, but never allow yourself to be overshadowed by old wounds. Trust that, over time, these wounds will heal, and you will find inner peace as well as the unwavering confidence to continue on your own path.